is a grand welcome and welcome to all the audience. In fact, we are very privileged to host you in our second session. We had one wonderful session with Colonel Dr. Ram Athavale and grateful to the audience for the overwhelming response. In fact, I am looking for the same for today's session as well. For the audience, I would like to introduce Dr. Bhargav before I request him to speak a lot. Dr. Bhargav is one of the finest oncologists, the co-founder of Cancer Rounds, India's first virtual comprehensive cancer care hospital. This initiative has been providing comprehensive virtual examinations and follow-ups during this critical time of COVID-19. You will be glad to know that this initiative has become a lifesaver in this critical time and has managed to save many lives. Dr. Bhargav is one of the leading stem cell experts who has established more than 10 centers for the same and has done more than 800 transplants. In the COVID fight, he has been working on optimization of right medical resources to control the spread of the virus. In professional front, he is a director of hematology and stem cell transplant at Fortis Memorial Research Institute and has a deep root with the students and community support. Probably I can say a man with a golden heart. Dr. Bhargav, thanks for the time. From your vast profile, probably I could mention a bit, but it will be great if you can say a few words about you. Audience will definitely like to know.
Thank you, Amitav. Thanks, Sapio Analytics, for giving this opportunity. To be honest, every work which we do, it is for the society and for the nation. From individual achievements, we have moved long back to contribution. And that's what we all need to do, is to contribute. And then this process of contribution, you achieve yourself. So the goal should be contribution rather than achievement. That's all I have to say. And then we can start the impact of COVID on today's life, because there's so much of information. Which one to take, which one should not take. I think these repetitive should happen. These kind of seminars keep on happening every month, because there's so much of information download on a day-to-day basis. 1 month actually you can come back and concisely review what is new which has happened and what people should know in their own local communicable language. They don't need the jargons. They need to understand desi bhasha mein kya karna kya hai, ye batao. We will follow that. I don't want many algorithms. Mujhe 5 cheezein bata do kya karna hai, that's all.
Absolutely. In fact, thank you. In fact, we are on same page. Thanks to our supporters, Hineba MS, IIT Kharagpur, Redcliffe Life Science and European Medical Association, International Association of Medical, Basic and Social Scientists, Lonalaya and UPCO, a PSU set up by government of UP. To bring on the same page what you absolutely told about the jargons and all, right now, n number of webinars are already happening on COVID-19. What is COVID-19? Its origin, probably if I say it's a probable origin, because Wuhan or wherever it is, technicality, different ongoing research, different vaccine types, mortality rate, recovery method, plasma therapy are the central point of all the discussions. Even I have watched few, but got only some technical jargons. What is needed, as you rightly mentioned, the information and insights. There are a lot of concerns regarding the healthcare facilities and the way system is equipped to handle in this pandemic. For us, what is badly needed is what is the way ahead, how to control, prepare, and manage. I hope, Dr. Bhargav, we both are on same page.
Yeah, absolutely.
So before going to my first set of questions, instruction for the audience, we have a hard stop at 12. You can post your queries. We'll try to take questions after the sessions. If we still can't cover all, probably we may have another session with doctor. I'm just taking a liberty that we may invite once again, and you'll make some time. So, Dr. Bhargav, if you or probably if we see the current situation, the way the things are shaping up, it is apparent that we have to start living with COVID. There is no escape route. The first basic answer which everybody is looking for is how to protect ourselves and children. How to go out for some walk and come back safely. It's sounding very basic, but nobody knows. We gradually need to go out in regular basis. Minor errors can cause havoc. We have been hearing a lot of experts have been talking, but if you ask me, probably we still don't know the steps properly. So I would request you to shed two lights, how to protect ourselves as children and how to go out for some work and come back safely. What is the right step?
Very rightly said. I would say the only shining point at this moment of time is knowledge, knowledge, and knowledge. The most important thing is what I understand from various media channels on the webinars, what is the insight and what is the take home message that I am going to conduct myself. It is very easy. Live with COVID. Live with COVID where? Where is the COVID? It is in the air. It is in the water, it is in the food. Where? Where should I go? What should I do? How many times should I change my clothes? How many times should I wash my hands? You start wearing mask every day, 24/7. It is very easily said on the webinar and on any news channel, please wear mask. You start wearing mask every 10 minutes, you will try to pull it down and take a breath. It means you are touching your hands. So when we say start living with COVID, is the matter that you have to start bringing few changes, some orderly changes in your life. It means you are going 10 times out to the market. Now you have to restrict yourself once a week. Like an American way, that buy all your vegetables, all your groceries on a Saturday and Sunday. The most important thing all of us has been told is for 3 months, every news channel, every place, every Google in this world has told you 3 things: social distancing, mask, and hand hygiene. Mask, which kind of a mask? Everybody now is an expert on the mask. But let's bring it again into the perspective how things have evolved. So look guys, coronavirus is basically a virus which suspends in the droplets. Understand, when I'm speaking to you digitally, I'm spilling out thousands of droplets into the air. Now when I'm not sneezing, if I sneeze, before this corona, 90% of people used to sneeze like this, and then they used to shake hands. At least now we know how to sneeze is in the arms. So people, when they talk about social distancing, is the simple fact is the answer lies in understanding corona. So corona is a virus which gets secreted out. It's a heavy virus. When you speak, 5 micron droplets are created. They cannot fly. They cannot fly like locusts to 130 kilometers away. Within 3 minutes to 30 minutes, 6 feet man, within 30 minutes, they tend to settle down on the ground. So you have a 6 feet guy who's speaking to you. 30 minutes down the line, all the virus within that 5 micron droplet will settle down on the floor. And on the floor, they will stay alive for 24 hours if you don't disinfect. So what we have learned and understand when we say social distancing, we really want a social distancing. There should be a physical distancing. We have to have a social bonding, social bridging while maintaining a physical distancing. That should be the ideal, physical distancing. Why we said 6 meters? Because majority of time when you are speaking, your droplets do not travel more than 2 feet. It is only a hard sneezer. There are people who are light sneezer, there are people who are hard sneezer who sneeze at the top of their lung volume. That can actually travel to 27 feet. So they have to brought in another very, very nice article from Atul Gawande in New York Times. He said 6 feet was brought as a median average space which was brought in, not 3 feet, not 27 feet, which was out of the curve. Let's see what is the 80% of the curve, Bell's curve was 6 feet. That's what they said. 2 meters or 6 feet is the place where you have to maintain. Now India is a crowded place. You have Dharavi. In one house, there are 4 people which are living in one room, so which will cover down the line. So 6 feet distance was brought in that when I'm speaking to you, I should not spit. And there are people in this country who keep on spitting every now and then. So that's why spitting became a natural ban in this country. That's why if you maintain that distance, there's a chances that if nobody is sneezing around you, you will not catch virus. So first thing which you have to say when you say protect yourself, social, physical distancing 6 feet. If nobody is coughing, sneezing, you will be protected. Second comes the mask. When we say protection, protection is in the mask. Why mask? This is a surgical mask. Okay, half of them will wear like this. Nose, you are breathing in and out. The virus is going in and out. When you are speaking, virus is going in and out. You see, when people will reopen the restaurants, the biggest fear is somebody sat in that room or a desk with you. He sneezed on the armchair. It was not disinfected. You come and sit, wipe your hands onto it, and you take the virus with you. So when you are speaking, the mask is doing two things. It is preventing your droplets to go out and fall on the floor or the armchairs or the doorknobs or any tables which you are speaking. Second, it is preventing the others droplets to enter into you. Though the size of this is 5 micron, and the cloth which you are wearing, which is a single mask cloth you take, is a 50 to 100 micron. So 50 to 100 micron, the pores are so big that the virus can go easily in and out. That's why they're saying use a double layer cloth or a 4-layer cloth to make a mask. They're not saying 1-layer mask, they're saying making a double mask. So when you understand the biology of the virus, that's why when we say knowledge has to be in a local communicable language. It cannot be reinforced until unless you don't understand the rationale of a social distancing and a mask, you will not adopt it. So the second point is, when we talk about the protection, is not touching the outer part of the mask. Now I'm touching the outer part. Now I'm touching the outer part. There are many people who are sneezing in the hospital. It is protecting, the virus is sitting outside. So now I touch it 10 times and I do like this. I do like this. So while you are touching the outside of the mask, you keep on touching your nose and eyes, the virus will enter. So understanding is that once you wear the mask, which is tight enough, so that the air can only go, you can breathe in and out, not leading to a hypercapnia, which is still a question mark with the N95 mask, and you don't require N95. So please, people, understand you don't require N95. You only require the cloth mask or a surgical mask at the best. Once that is done, understand the rationale, don't touch the outside part. Once you come out and go back inside, keep it at the locker room. Keep it outside at one place or wash it with the detergent, it will die down. And the third thing is hand hygiene. Now I'm sitting on a desk, on a computer I'm doing, somebody sneeze, cough, I take the virus with me. So understanding is that these three things has to be followed in letter and spirit. It cannot go away. And because the coronavirus is a novel coronavirus, where you do not know so many things, you understand from the previous ones, which is SARS and MERS, which came in 2002 and 2012. This coronavirus is nowhere near to those viruses. So friends and countrymen, the most important thing is understand the rationale behind the social distancing. Now people will say, I will go out for the grocery. If you are going out for a grocery and you are not touching with everybody and you are maintaining a social distance, where will the virus will come from? Until somebody is sneezing and coughing. So in an environment, if nobody is coughing, every time you go in and out, you need not change your clothes. Provided you know that you have not met with anybody and you have not seen anybody cough and sneeze. The virus will settle down within 30 minutes to 3 hours. So that is the most important, I would say, knowledge and understanding of the virus itself will help you to ask questions, seek an answer for that. So during next 20 minutes, we'll seek out more answers about what to eat, air, water, stools, so on and so forth. As we have a list of questions, we will understand. But when we say how to protect yourself is that. And the second major thing is, out of these 1 lakh people who have died, more than 3 lakh people, 300,000 people who have died, understanding is obesity, diabetes, hypertension, and elderly people needs to be taken care of. There is no doubt about it. How? We will come back to you.
Thank you. In fact, that is a detailed step, much helpful. In fact, myself is feeling probably more confident now. Thank you. And probably this is the case with the audience also. Now, doctor, if I see the numbers and the way it's getting increased, it's like a storm. India is right now among the top 10 affected countries. There are a lot of concerns regarding the healthcare facilities and the way the system is equipped to handle this pandemic. We need to understand three things. How early or late should one act to go for the test? This is a common question. Question number two is, if tested positive, how many times does one have before this situation goes out of hand? Especially since enough beds and ventilators are not available or whatever the concern is right now. The question three is, how long does one really require in the critical care?
So first thing is, the majority chances is that you will be asymptomatic and you will not require anything. So first basic thing which you have to understand, COVID positivity does not mean the doomsday. It does not mean the end of the world to you. So let's look at the figures of, we have a figure of 300,000 people who have died, and we have got a figure of 50 lakh people who have been diagnosed with COVID positivity. So say today, Amitabh comes and coughs at me, I get a virus from him. So first 4 or 5 days, nothing will happen. Virus will go, virus has gone through the nose to the lungs, virus is replicating, multiplying. I'm young, 42 years of age. On a 4th day or 5th day of the 4th to 5th day after virus has entered into the body, it will cause cough, which could be dry in nature. Cough which is dry. It's not producing sputum. You will have fever, you can have fever. 70% people will have fever. They can have body aches. They can have a stuffy nose, not the running nose. So when people will ask me, boss, is it influenza? We keep on getting influenza in between. We keep on getting cold and cough in between. Is it common cold? So then it's a stuffy nose. Then somebody will get diarrhea. Somebody will get loss of taste, loss of smell. Perfect. And body aches. Body aches is a very, very common thing. Okay. Viruses do lead to a very common thing of a body ache. So biggest thing is dry cough and a stuffy nose. Now, on a 5th day, you develop a fever. On a 5th day, the moment you develop a symptom, you can get the COVID testing done. Once you do a COVID testing, chances the lab will tell you 70% time it is positive, 30% time it will give you false negative. False negative means the sensitivity, the ability of the machine to pick up is only 70%. You might be positive, still the machine can give you negative. But if you have a high index of suspicion that look, Amitabh has come to my house, he has also turned positive, now I have got cough and cold, my turn has come positive, you can repeat the test after 5 days. So 5th day, 6th day gone, 7th day gone, I am positive. Now I have got no symptoms. The chances is 90% times it will resolve by day 10 to day 14. 90%, 90. That is why the home quarantine thing has come in. And then we'll switch back to the home quarantine later down. If you are young, if you are non-hypertensive, non-diabetic, the chances is 90% times you will go back home hale and hearty. Now it becomes a 10% times. Now you are afraid because everybody thinks that I am going to land up into ICU. It means 50 lakh people have entered into ICU, my friends. 50 million people who have been diagnosed, have they all entered into ICU? Come on, this is not true. There's only 20% people who have got a severe disease and 5% people who land up on the ventilators. And that 5%, only 3% have a mortality, and that too, people who are on high risk. So even if you go on a ventilator, there's a tocilizumab, which is an IL-6 inhibitor, which is a medication which can be utilized. Plasma therapy can be utilized, remdesivir can be utilized, and out of these 3% also you will soon see that only 1 or 2% people are dying, which is way less than a road traffic accident. So why are you afraid of, when we say start living with COVID, it's not physically start living it. It's a mental block which you have to come out of it. Every day fear has to come out. When people talk about starting the economy, is opening the industry sufficient enough to bring the economy? Economy is run by the customers, consumers. If the consumer don't consume, whatever you produce, economy is not going to open up. So the fear factor has to come out of you. Friends, 90% people will recover. The moment you have a breathlessness, by 11th day, every single person on COVID positive will manifest their problems. If not, the next 3 days they will stay and they will go out. Outliers will be there. Everybody can come up with a month's story. But what is the generalization is what we are talking. And if you have to become sick, then you will become sick by 8th day or the 10th day. When you start having breathlessness and you will land up into ICU by 8th or 10th day. It is never on a 4th or a 5th day. Generally 8th or 10th day you tend to land up into ICUs and can stay prolonged there. My own colleagues from US, my own hematologists have gone on ventilator and come back. There are umpteen number of stories of 80-year-old people who have been on ventilator and come back. So friends, it is very, very random. Nobody can predict, but fear factor will make it worse because you will throng the hospitals, you will get more viral exposure, you will get panic, and when you get panic, you get breathless. When you get breathless, people think, oh, this is COVID related. They put you into ICU. There the viral load is already high. So you see a spiral in which you go. We need to be very, very, very transparent with the doctor that, look, doc, this is what is happening. Am I really breathless or not? The understanding the whole thing, simple guys, it's not rocket science. Fever, body ache, breathlessness means I am not able to breathe. It's not panic. I am not able to breathe. I am getting tired while breathing. My accessory muscles, anybody in the house, if you see these muscles while breathing heavily, that means this is wrong. And this is not for today. This is for next 30 years. Friends, these small medical jargons, please understand for next 30 years, it will help you out. So when the question comes, how many people, 90, 10 out of that 5 severe disease, 5 will go critical and 3% will have a mortality. So by and large, every one of you will be safe. Get it in writing.
Thank you. I have a very similar question kind of, from the related to government on the same thread. What should the government focus upon to improve its efficiency with the healthcare facilities? It has become a major concern and a lot of news are going on. What will be your advice?
Communication. Amitabh, the basic thing is the communication strategy has to be right. Communication cannot go into a lengthy discussions. It has to be a 3-pointer. In a psychoanalysis, everything we can remember is 3 things. So everything when you come on see on a Twitter is not 5 points or 6 points. Everybody tries to concise into 3 points. What my humble request across the country is in a local communicable language which people understand, where people can spend time in communicating to the people is 3 things what you need to do. So once you know the 3 things what needs to be done, it will become a very, very easy, simple process. Because then the public at large knows when I should go to the hospital, when I will get admitted, what will happen to me. It's a communication, clear-cut strategy, communication strategy, which needs to be in place. What will happen, will happen. Let it happen. It will take its own course. But the fear factor, which is gripping the 90% of the population, will get away from the communication. So my humble request to any person in deciphering the whole thing is communication has to be very, very clear to the public at large, because public is gripped under the fear. Their whole psyche is into a fear that I'm going to die. And guys, we are not going to die. Get it clear. Because if you can maintain a social distance, if you can wear a mask, simple mask will reduce the mortality from a 6% to 3%. Enough has been said in March when Trump has opened up the whole place and the people were not wearing the mask, versus April, the mortality has dipped by 3 to 4%. So I think it's a communication which is required. Yeah, to Amitabh.
You are back, right? I think there was some technical issues was there in terms of the connection.
Yeah, so over to Amitabh. Back to Amitabh.
Great. I have a very touching questions right now. I think all the audience who are watching and who will be watching the recording session, they can relate. This is striking everyone. In fact, you have already touched one of the point like obesity. my next question is related to the immunity. In fact, thanks to Lieutenant Colonel Narula, you have also put in the similar question in that chat section. So if you see Indian culture, doctor, we still, a lot of people are in joint families. We are not that privileged. We are in Bombay in a nucleus family and all, but there are still some privileged, kind of privileged staff who are in joint, and there are senior citizens. In fact, the youngsters and the other, nowadays the situation is either diabetes or obesity, some or the other problem is happening apart from the senior citizens also. So the two threats are typically these kind of people are supposed to have a less immune system and probably more exposed to COVID-19. So how to protect the senior citizen versus how to boost our own immune system if we consider we slightly better, having a better immune system than the senior citizen.
So Amitabh, lot has been said about the immunity. And it's the most loosely term used in this country. Okay.
Yes.
And I'm sitting in Haryana where my people drink 2 liters of milk every day, morning, evening, with a biceps as big as my thighs. Okay. So everybody think having a 6-pack abs and having a muscle is immunity. No, friend. Immunity is the sum total of how you were born, what you have done, how much stress you have taken, and what you have done with your body, and how many times actually you have eaten tinda, bhindi and ghee in your life. Okay? And burgers and chowmeins, it's a sum total cumulative sum. Immunity is a sum total of all the activities which we do. And just not food, it's about the stress, it's about smoking. So it all constitutes, it's about skin, it's about tonsils. It is about your innate system which protects you. It's a coverage. It's a Lakshman Rekha which prevents. So the whole idea is, even if you're in a joint family, the social distancing, if I have to dissect it out of 3 things, social distancing, hand hygiene and mask, everything has 33%. So you might not be able to maintain a social distance. Agreed. Physical distance. Social distance you don't want. Physical distance you are not able to maintain in a small chawl. Agreed. But you can wear a mask. You can wash your hands. Once you come from outside, you can actually change your clothes immediately and take bath. You can flush your system, flush your toilets, keeping the lid closed. You can every 2 hours, 3 hours, you can wash your hands. Because the reason is you can use less of plastic. So I'll just enumerate. On a plastic, the virus stays alive for 3 days. On a stainless steel, it remains 3 days. Copper, 4 hours. Paper, 4 hours. Glass, 4 hours. Cardboard, 24 hours. Wood, 2 days. Clothes, 24 to 48 hours. And a floor sample in the hospital, large. So when you come from outside, you can have a different footwear. Keep the outside footwear outside. If you have elderly people, wash your hand. Don't go close to them. When you are sneezing, sneeze outside. And sneeze it here in the arms. So basic Indian solution needs to be provided. And if somebody is very, very fond of, then from Ayurveda, Charak Samhita says, put the oil inside the nose. That will give you a double barrier. So the whole aspect, we might not be fortunate enough to what the America and Italy has. But we are fortunate. COVID has shown us that if we go back to our roots of doing namaste, not hugging each other and kissing each other, probably that is why we have been saved from this onslaught of this number of deaths which has come back. Which tells you, the COVID tells you that it is time to reinvent that 4,000-year-old art called Ayurveda. And a Charak Samhita has to be read by everybody to understand in a basic language how the curcumin, our own turmeric, how our ginger helps you to build up the immunity. So immunity is not going to happen today, my friends. Immunity is a system which is going to take like a PPF, which is going to get mature when you retire. So please start doing today. It might not help you today, but for the next onslaught, it might help you. So that is the most important thing. Remember, mask, physical distancing and hand hygiene plays 33%. So you still have 66%. Now. You need only 33% marks to pass. So Corona also goes that path. 33% is what you require.
Great. I think another life-saving insight. So my next question, probably you will laugh because that is something is a cakewalk for you. But trust me, for people like us and the general public, we are struggling most here. So currently, what happens if one somebody hears that a case within a kilometer, it's a matter of panic. And if it's within the community, whether it's a gated community or within a nearby vicinity, right? People are scared to the core. People don't know what to do. What is the right measures rather than just getting into the panic? What should you do?
The country which is obsessed with numbers. If my son brings 110 out of 100, I'll say shabash, very good in maths. So we are obsessed with numbers. That is why every day our TRP numbers show breaking news. 7,600 numbers comes in and you start panicking, hyperventilating. Even if your next door neighbor was found to be positive, you tell me, is that there's so many variables. Has he come visited to your house? No. Has he sneezed and coughed at you? No. Have you met him in past 7 days? No. Then where is the corona is going to come to you? Is the maid coming in back between your house and his house? No. So how the corona is going to travel? Is it going to travel by air or swim? Why are you afraid? Even if my wife turns out to be corona positive, there's a 60% chance that I will not contract corona. So you have to believe in something. You cannot think that America is getting corona, that is why I will also get corona. Italians were all 60, 65. Americans who were there in the facilities, in the daycare houses were 70 plus. Our population is 40, 45. You are all young at heart. So why are you worried? The scientific knowledge should guide us, friends. Certain times in these pandemics and epidemics, what is the commonest thing is the knowledge. The knowledge says there's a chance that even if your next door neighbor is contracted the virus, you are put into a containment zone so that it does not travel in and out, so that it does not spread into your cities. That's why you are contained. That's why even the grocery comes to your house. So corona biology is that it is not such a harsh virus. It is worse than influenza, but better than measles. So when Dharavi and the Chauls can take the onslaught of measles and chickenpox for umpteen number of years, why do you think that corona will not be able to win over corona? Has anybody died of measles in the past years? If the answer to that is no, then why are we worried? And for what we are worried for? So I think most important is the psychological aspect of not seeing the numbers. So everybody is saying numbers are increasing. I'm saying what is the number of deaths which are happening? Is the increasing number proportional to deaths? And did you ever watch the number of deaths which were happening because of the road traffic accident in a year? The answer to that is no. The fear has gripped the psyche. Please come out of it. The corona is not that harsh. It's not that harsh, but it does not also mean it's a bravado that you go out in the open and start doing it. Wear your mask, take your precaution. When we say live with corona, the new normal is mask. Japanese has been doing for 2002 years. From 2002 when I went to Japan, everybody was wearing masks. So they have been born and brought up in that way. When a civilization, one part of civilization can wear masks since they are born, then why can't we? We are evolving. So friends, the most important thing is understand. That's the most important thing. And corona is not entering into your houses. It's not like a gas. It's not like a Bhopal gas strategy that is going to spread out into everybody's house. No. So we'll touch that point. Is it airborne? Is it waterborne? We'll touch that point. We'll come back to it.
Right. In fact, on the same thread, since we are talking about the understand and all, at least for me, and I'm sure the audience must be struggling on the same front. There are a lot of talks are happening about the symptoms, how to identify and understand COVID. But what is happening if a normal cold versus COVID-19, majority of the symptoms at the initial phase are same. Now, how to understand? So, I have been personally talking to a couple of people, but never got a satisfactory answer. I think the same thing will for the audience also.
Amita, don't get confused. Life is simple. There's a KISS strategy. Keep it simple and silly. If you have cough, cold, and body pain, please go and check yourself for COVID and influenza. Either way around you require a hospitalization, and either around you want a quarantine. If it is influenza, it is quarantine. What is more important, why people are afraid, because stigmata is, one, that people have become so afraid that they don't want to talk about it because they will be stigmatized. Second is the financial loss, that if I turn to be COVID positive, I will be put into quarantine and I lose the wages. So if the government can actually make sure that person during even the COVID positive state, when he is at home or quarantined or in the hospital, his wages are served, his half of the tension will start coming down. Amita, we have to understand from a psyche, we are into a process where we never had a plenty. So we keep on saving, keep on saving, keep on saving. So the first thing which will come to my mind the moment I have developed COVID, sitting in Fortis and seeing patient, is what will happen to my salary? Second, what will my neighbor will think? So why are we stigmatizing? Let them keep the identity unknown. So local problems needs to be dealt in a local manner. The psychology between an American, Italian, and Swedish and Indians are different. We need to understand. In America, nobody is stigmatizing. In India, if I get COVID, the biggest thing is I am going to be quarantined. How will I be seen and perceived in the family? And it is not HIV. It is not HIV, unprotected sex you had, and that's why you have developed HIV. No, it is you have come in contact. You are not going to want to get this virus back to you. Why are you worried, man? And even somebody talks about saying this, you have to say it's a virus, anybody can get it. So stigmatization. Second, the economic losses, which makes the corona much more fearful and afraid of. And that we need to take care of as a society at large. So keep it simple and silly. If you have got cough, cold, body ache, or breathlessness, go and check yourself for COVID. Don't get into this IFI or SARS or MERS. These are confusing terms. Okay? Sitting in a hospital, if I have a suspicion, I have a headache, and I feel his platelets are low, I will go for a CT scan. I will not utilize my brain. Oh, this could happen, or that could happen. If you have cough, cold, myalgia, go for testing. Simple.
Thank you. That was a master class. In fact, I was just remembering my master's days in XLRI because you talked about that KISS, keep it short and sweet. For some time, it's just a nostalgia. So, Doctor, I was just watching the audience, and majority are a kind of, parents. So, I'll be taking a thread from the anxious parent community right now. See, if you see right now, the schools are going to open sooner or later. How many days we can actually keep children at home, right? We need to send children at school. But still the question remains same, how? What are the critical aspects school authorities, teachers and students need to be aware of to prevent the transmission within the premise and the outside the premises? Probably this is something is a major concern right now.
So I have gone through the phase when I was a kid. Now I am a parent. Okay. When I was a kid, I used to look for a school which will never open for 365 days. As a parent, I am looking for a school which is open for 365 days, that the kid should not remain at home. So that's how in 20 years, the paradigm shifts. When we are searching for a school which will remain closed, because you don't want to, no kids want to go to school. And parents want their kids to go to school. Okay? So that's how the life revolves. So the question is, it is still far. Luckily in June, we have summer breaks and things will start opening up then. By August, July, end of August, we have to send our kids to school. The reason is sanitizers has to be there with them. And not everybody will have a sanitizer, so they have to stay away from each other. And it is very, very difficult when we can't explain to the elderly people or the young adults, how will you tell the kids to stay away? You tell me. They will not stay away. So what is the best thing? Mask. Mask and sanitizer. You have to start training your kid like a toilet training. You have to start telling them, please wash, sanitize your hands every 2 hours. Second, wear mask. And third thing, schools have to open up in a gradual manner. So either they have to have an innovative method that half day, 9 to 2, then 2 to 6, something like that. They have to bring individual cabins so that cough and cold kids, even they have cough and cold, they should not transmit to the rest. And a strict policy that kids needs to be screened at the school entry gate for cough, cold and fever. The moment you have something, they go back to home. So innovative methods of sanitization, checking at the school entry, changing the structure of the schools. If your schools have AC, then probably they have to be switched off, because inlet has to be brought in with the fresh air. If you can afford to do that, it is good. Otherwise, switch off the ACs, run on the fans, open the windows and let them read through. These are the innovative methods where you need to keep it tight, and so that you start going back to the school again.
Thank you.
But at the same time, Amitav, there's a huge role of technology has to play. I will come in a little bit, because we have not touched on the aspect of the technology which is still hurting me quite a lot. So we'll come to that, please.
Great. Before going to the next question, just a message for the audience. Audience, we have around 20 minutes. We have a hard stop, but I would request
We can continue. Amitav, we can continue for some more time. That's okay.
But still, it will be great if the audience can start putting the question in chat. Few have already started, we already covered, but it will be great. My next question is, whatever measure will take, but some or the other error will happen for sure, right? And the healthcare professional like you and others, they also need to take care of. So protecting our healthcare professional, probably if you call it our life soldier, are extremely important. How can we protect our healthcare workers who are working tirelessly? We hear that healthcare professionals don't get needed PP. I'm not going into a controversial statement. You know better what is happening. But in some cases, there might be an urgency to treat, and there might be a case where the PP is not available. In such case, is there any way that the healthcare professional can actually treat and get protected by using readily available materials? Is it possible some or the other way?
Amitav, very nice question. I think it's an occupational hazard which we have. So the frontline thing has to be, healthcare personnel has to be divided and seen in people who are working in emergency. They are the ones who are the highest risk. So when we talk about the PPEs, the PPE in a hospital needs to go to the emergency people at the first go. That's the most and critical part. Second part is opening up the hospitals, which means social distancing has to be maintained, but every single person who's undergoing a surgery needs to get a COVID test as well. So public has to realize why COVID testing is important during chemotherapy, during dialysis. How often is not the question, but whether it's required at the first go, answer to that is yes. Because when you intubate, when you put a tube to anesthetize you, we generate aerosols. And the aerosols are smaller than the droplets. So droplets, and it can suspend in the air and can last for a long time. In the hospital setting in Wuhan, when they did the trials, they said the droplets have remained persistent for 24 hours in OT. So those are the people who require PPEs. And then the rest of the people who are seeing on a day-to-day basis, like us who is in OPD and seeing patient, the simplest thing is wear a mask and create a protective layer in front of you. That is all. But 100% can never anything be sure. If you say 100% everybody will be PP protected, probably yes, today we have PPs we can protect, but even the PPs there will be a breaches certain times because it's a difficult thing. You wear a PP, you get suffocated, friends. When you talk to a doctor, wear a PP, you are yourself spend 500 rupees, wear a PP. Difficult. So three aspects. Right people at the right diagnosis needs to visit to the hospital so as to reduce the load. Don't land up with emergency condition. Don't be tolerant. Let's be intolerant to our own health. Let's be intolerant. The only reason why I'm saying is when we reach in the last phases, we don't have anything to do. So it's like a cricket match. You have got 3 balls and you have to make 18 runs. That becomes a difficulty. So for a common public, if you have a problem, teleconsultation first thing. Ask the doctor, am I sick? Do I look sick to you? If the answer to that is yes, visit the hospital. So when we say IT and telecommunication needs to be built up, Amitabh, right first point, teleconsultation, which should be probably at the minimal cost. Say COVID patient you write, the cost should not be more than 200 or say 100 rupees, just for checking yourself. So that is very, very important to know what is happening, and that's how you can protect both yourself and the hospitals.
Much helpful, much helpful. And probably, I can say you thanks and for all the tireless and thankless works you guys are doing for all of us, right? The way soldiers are doing in the border, probably you are doing in the front for the COVID. Now, if I really want to see in this way, that while everyone expects healthcare professional to do their duties uncompromisingly, but is there something that the medical professionals would expect from the patients, relatives, general public to ease pressure on the system? I feel there should be some expectation, and if there is an expectation, that is all justified. What's your take?
Amitabh, very well said. I would say the expectation is towards the nation and to our own citizens. That why my people sitting in Bihar should die? Why people sitting in Uttar Pradesh should die? Why? My only question is why we are so much intolerant, so much tolerant towards our own health? Why we are neglecting our own body, which every scripture of ours talks saying God resides within our own body? Why? Why do you neglect? Is it only because of the money? The reason is that I will not consult to a doctor because he will charge money. So let's bring the OPD consultation down. I will talk to my IMA and say, let's bring the OPD down to 200 rupees. At least please go to a doctor. When he writes investigations, so that you have to visit to a doctor so that you don't have to go to a doctor. The philosophy should be that. Philosophy should not be that I should abuse myself in 50 years and then I get abused in the hospitals for next 20 years. Why, friends? Why can't we remain healthy? Where is our whole action of balanced diet? Where is all Gita, Ramayana, Mahabharata gone, the teachings of those scriptures which we keep on talking and fighting? Have we imbibed those structures into us? Healthy habits, reduce stress, reduce your body work, have a balanced diet, nutritious diet. We have all forgotten that. So my only expectation to the patient is be genuinely, positively, honestly, truthfully, tell your symptoms. Understand your own body and try to seek answers which are simple in your body. Don't go for the exceptions. What is happening in Amitabh in today's COVID era is we are seeing the exceptional things because TRP, for the sake of TRPs, the media will show the exceptional cases. That this guy was hale and hearty, 20 years old, never had a problem, went to a doctor and he died. They will not tell that the denominator was, what was the denominator? It wasn't 10 lakh, 1 in 10 lakhs. Will I be 1 in 10 lakhs? If that is to happen, that will happen. Then stop flying. We should stop flying. Six Sigma rule, 1 in billion times the air flight will fall down. While sitting in plane, we are not afraid. But seeing that report, that what happened in 1 in 10 lakhs, you are all worried. Where is your health? Everybody is so obese, has got a waistline which is going out of the size. Where is our own health, friends? We are the diabetic capital for the world. 55% of our females are anemic. Can you beat that? So every one of you who is getting the scolding in the evening from your wives is not your fault. It could be because of the low hemoglobin. So understand, my only expectation for the larger community and public is please take health of your body in a most earnest way and the priority of it. You are making money. I tell in many conferences that people, you are making money for me. At the age of 52, I will be a billionaire because you will be all spending your time into hospitals or what you have earned. Do you want that? Will it COVID era at least stop smoking? Stop drinking? So simple things need simple solutions. let's not complicate. We have become as a society very, very complex. That I need to seek answer for the rarest of the rare things. Friends, rare things do not happen to common people. Rare things happen rarely. Common things happen commonly. Understand that dictum and live your life without fear. What will happen one day. With your simple protections, if you do without thinking about the doomsday, you will not have a problem. That's what is the humble request to the general public is.
Thank you. Probably I hope that we can do some justice, if not completely. Now we'll come to a kind of, if I talk about some myth versus reality, you already mentioned about the airborne and all. We have been hearing about the different transmission mediums. Is there a proof that animals also can be transmitted or they can't? There's a lot of talks are going on. Similarly, can it be transmitted by air or water? Is there any possibility?
So Corona has not learned how to swim. Like I don't know how to swim. Corona also do not know how to swim. Okay, rest assured. Second, airborne. Airborne means it's a specific terminology. Airborne ka matlab is simple. That if I sneeze, then this will travel to 1 kilometer through air, like pollens. And coronavirus is not a pollen. So it will not travel more than 3 to 6 feet, my friends. It is a heavy virus. It will settle down on your desk. It will sit on the chair. Like everybody of us likes sitting on the chair and don't do 10,000 steps every day. So it will sit. So it does not go anywhere. So my request is, let's not be panicked. When I say 1 kilometer, even your neighbors do not get panicked. The simple reason for that was that it is not an airborne disease yet, till the time new data comes in. Corona is a part of our life. Once it has got mutated from bats to us, it is going to stay. Whether vaccine comes or does not come, our aim should be to reduce mortality. It will come, 90% you will have fever, you will have problems, you will have things, good enough. You should not die. And even if death is there, that should be less than 1%. If I can find that holy grail, good enough. I don't want to eradicate corona. If it has happened, it is good. Like a dinosaur, it gets eradicated happy. But it's not going. The reality is, my aim as a healthcare personnel and a policy maker is reduce my mortality. Let it corona come. Yesterday I was talking to my wife. I said, let's make corona divide into 5 parts. You take 1 part, I will take 1 part. At least my body will develop immunity. And let's get afraid of, once for all gets this fear of going out of this corona. I'll have an immunity, I can run around anywhere without a mask. Plus don't do that, my friends. It's still yet to come by. The whole idea is, the simple idea is, the corona is your part of your life. Adjust it, adapt it, live with it.
Thank you. In fact, our earlier speaker, Colonel Dr. Ram Athavale is also saying thanks to you in the chat section. Thank you, Ramji, for attending this session again. The next question, probably, I don't know, it's a bitter truth. People will not like to, relate it, but unfortunately that is happening. See, we are seeing that the funeral has become a major concern after death. What's the right approach? How people can come out of the panic and cooperate with the administration, vis-a-vis administration can do the funeral in right process with zero spread chance. What is the right process? It's all across India, it's happening a problem.
So there was a big debate whether the dead bodies can transmit virus or not. The answer to that is, until unless you don't do an autopsy, it will not happen. It is not transmitting virus. It is not transmitter, friends. Let's understand. Let's give a dignified end to a person who has died. Let's not rob the dignity of a dying person. Every person who has lived a dignified life has got an equal right to die a dignified and buried or cremated in a dignified manner. Of whatever religion, let's not divide onto that. It's a matter of dignity. So, if a person dies, he is corona positive, His body is wrapped into two plastic sheets, taken to an electric crematorium according to their own religions. It's not that burial is better than crematorium or electric crematorium is better than burial. Let's not go into that debate. Whichever faith you are from, take it into a plastic body, maintain a social distance, and bury it. A person who's at the job into these places has to wash their hands, wear the PPE kits, and that's all. It's not a big deal. You want to convey your grief to the people. Yes, we understand, but the numbers has to be less. The only thing is the numbers. If one has died of COVID, you don't know how many family members have got in touch with them, and are there the more sources for infection. So that's the only request which is there. It does not get transmitted in the air and everybody from a burial ground will get corona. It is not. The only reason why government and every place in the world has put into 20 people is just to please maintain a distance.
Great. I'll try to take one question from audience. Sumit Vadva, thanks for the question. Sumit is writing, India for the first time has reported a lower number in terms of positive and active case than the previous day. Should we cheer about this? Is this first sign of bending the curve or just a blip in number?
Sumit, I would say I am not a great fan of numbers. I would only worried about my deaths. That's all. That's the ultimate reality and the truth of our life. Please understand, numbers, let the numbers increase. Nobody has shown that increasing number means increasing mortality. I want to keep my system intact, that if I've got 6,000 ventilators, my hospital admission, critical care hospital admission should not be 7,000, where I have to come to an Italian model, where I have to try myself, that I have to pull in the plug out of a 70-year-old and put it into 20 years old. I don't want that. I'm only worried about my critical cases and people who require admission. That is all. Those numbers, 1 lakh, 2 lakh, 7,000, 8,000, it is immaterial. Let's figure out how many people are critical, how many people needs bed, and how many people needs ventilator. These three, if the government can tackle, let the numbers increase. Who is bothered? If you are able to save life, who's bothered? You tell me. Do you understand? And when I talk about technology, why can't I've been technology giants with us. Do you have any app which can tell me today, sitting in Gurgaon, that this hospital is empty, you can take your patient to this place? So what is happening is, if I become sick, I'll tell you the reality. If I become sick, my wife will take an ambulance person will charge a bomb. Then I'll go to one hospital, stand in line and see there is no bed. Then I'll take it to the other hospital, which is 40 kilometers away. They will say, I don't have a bed. We learn from a smart parking systems that let's combine in a city-wise, how many COVID beds are there? 500. Electronically on computer, daily basis, minute by minute, they are getting updated whether we have a bed or not. So that people don't have to run. This is what India wants. And that is where the level of satisfaction comes towards the society. When in my tough time, there's an app which tells me, look, doc, you have a bed which is vacant 20 minutes away from your place. I will go to that place. The nearest COVID testing center, now you have got 609 labs. Can you remember any lab which is near to you? The app has to be there which says these are the places which is near to COVID. Now your app can tell you where the restaurant is. It can also tell you where toilet is. But it cannot tell you whether there's a bed which is vacant or whether there's a COVID center. So my thing is, technologically we want these things to land up to a place where we can serve the people.
Thank you, Doctor. In terms of the dashboard and app, some work has already been started where the dashboard is getting in terms of live updation. So I hope this will be applicable for Pan India soon. So work has already been started. Colonel Dr. Ram Athavale is asking, what are your views on herd immunity?
So herd immunity system has been challenged. It is a concept where British tried doing that and landed with so many mortalities. But sir, it is the immunity which is going to protect, because there's still no case, reinfection case has come up. Except sparing few cases, reinfection has not occurred. The people who developed coronavirus had an immunity, so they have not been reinfected. So it means if in a family, me and my wife has had a virus, if my son comes inside the house, it gets effectively blocked. That's how the herd immunity is. It means the 60 to 70% people at some point or the other will get infected, and then based on the severity and the next year the strain of the coronavirus, this will keep on coming back like influenza. So herd immunity is the concept. I think over a period of time, all of us will somewhere or the other will get infected, knowing or unknowing, and that's where the curve will start coming down.
Thank you.
Media will also get fatigued by reviewing the numbers every day.
Thank you, Doctor. Before going to my last question, which is related to school and where your heart lies, I'll take one last question from the audience. Bishwajit Majumdar is writing from Kolkata. What will be the impact of relaxation of lockdown on common people from 1st June? Since cities like Kolkata and Mumbai are overcrowded, what will be the after effects of relaxation of lockdown on India? If you can just share.
It will be a sine wave curve. There will be opening ups. There will be a re-lockdown. There will be a strict enforcement that these many people only can go in. So if I have got 1,000 people who uses bus and only 10 people are around, it means I need 100 bus on that route. And if you multiply it with 1.35 billion people, you require those many buses. So I think on paper, when we decide upon these facts, that does not hold true, because everybody will be in a hurry. How will we decide that Amitabh will take the first bus and not me? How will you decide? How will Mr. Majumdar will be on a third bus and not on the first bus? So everybody will run to take the first bus. So sir, in India, these social norms are easy to write on a paper, but our society is as chaotic as anybody in the world, or much more chaotic. So we have to bring in much more self-discipline within ourselves. The governments will open up because they need economy to open up. They need the customers to go and buy things. Then the onus will come on to us. And when the onus comes to us, it means the government has said, practically has said, please you start behaving yourself properly, otherwise, gone. So my only aspect is that please maintain self-discipline within the community and start doing it.
Great. We'll finish with last question for the students. The reason behind I'm asking this question, that this session is getting recorded. It will be part of the series of episodes that will be shared with the schools under Atal Innovation Mission Niti Aayog, and they can see and
Shobha, don't leave the city. It is not running away from the city. You stay in the city, maintain three things, 33, 33, 33. Nothing is going to happen, believe me.
Thank you. Doctor, since I'm talking that the schools will get the recording, so do you see that students can come out with some innovative projects in this time?
Yes. So find out the ways of informing each other. Find out the ways to form a corona buddies to inform, so that the same thing can be transmitted to the rest of the people, the knowledge. Work, every student should work. My taking is everybody should work on communication. Communication, communication, communication. Please develop your strategies regarding communication. Second aspect, how to simplify the existing information. How the new information which comes to the world in a jargon needs to be brought into a simplified manner of actionable targets. So whatever is coming, what is my action towards it, needs to understand. So if the students can come on these two things, I think things will change.
Thank you, Doctor, for your valuable insights and time. Immensely helpful in this crucial time. I hope you have enjoyed the session.
Oh, I enjoyed it. Thank you, Amitabh. You are a great moderator, I would say. You can take Arnab Goswami's place, actually.
Finger crossed. So I think this is going to be very much helpful as we expected for the audience and for the students under Atal Innovation Mission. I'm sure the way you talked about this Corona Buddy and other concept, the students will be properly guided whenever the ideas will be coming, and the mentors will be channelizing it properly. For the audience, if we have missed any queries, we will check and collate on questions. You will be notified if you are holding any specific session on these with the specific queries, or maybe a part 2, because I feel there are a lot of questions people could not ask this time. We'll continue with the journey with the other experts. Dr. Bhargav can be a part of some other upcoming sessions as well if he has time. I hope I can invite you in the live.
Of course.
Great. So stay tuned, stay at home, be safe, keep learning. We'll be having a fantastic episode next week as well. I'm not revealing the name. Keep on watching us. We'll come to know. So thank you, doctor, for guiding us how to control, prepare, and manage. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
And for the audience, if there is any queries and feedback, you can always write to hardik@sapioanalytics.com. You can check the chat section. You can always keep sending us what is the kind of improvement we can do. We'll keep our best to incorporate all those. Thank you. Thanks for all the time you are spending with us. Thank you. Thank you all.